Hello again and welcome back to another video. Today we are going to be watching some spiders getting horny, which is a completely normal and totally socially acceptable way to spend your free time. I promise. So we'll be starting off today with Isopedella leai, a medium-sized huntsman from South Australia. In an unanticipated turn of events, the female decides to feed on a roach that must have been hiding in the substrate for quite a fair while and chose that precise moment to appear. My god, that roach must have had no manners at all, interrupting a very personal thing here. The male is probably feeling a little neglected, or maybe relieved, because at least it's not him. So I presume that this pairing attempt would not be going anywhere this time. The female obviously was pretty preoccupied. However, just as I'd put the camera down and was preparing to get the male out, he went straight for it. And I really mean that, because it was quite literally blink and you'll miss it. Because I blinked and I missed it. And if you look closely, you'll see that the female actually drops the cockroach pretty much the moment the male gets on top of her. So I guess she understands priorities. She's got a more pressing task at hand. That task is, of course, the R-rated version of piggyback. At the moment, these spiders aren't actually mating. This is simply courtship or foreplay, whatever you want to call it. The female's reproductive structure, the epigyne, is located on her underside, so it's not exactly the easiest thing in the world for the male to reach. But that's his job, and he's got to do it if he wants to do it. Eventually he managed to lift up his mate's abdomen with all the strength that his long, spindly and uncomfortably hairy legs could muster. Feel like I'm projecting a lot on that one. Anyway, now it is time for the real business to get going. In order to make a successful delivery of his precious tadpoles, he needs to get his palpal bulb over the female's epigyne. Once that's done, intercourse can commence. And I can only presume they're having fun because these two lovebirds were together for 12 fucking hours. And I mean that in the most literal sense of the word. Though all in all, I was actually really happy with this pairing. The female, in case you haven't already noticed from how she reacted to that stowaway cockroach, has an absolutely voracious feeding response. So I'm glad the male got out in one piece. Oh, and by the way, when I said that they were together for 12 hours, I mean they stayed in this exact same position. Like, you two, this is supposed to be the time of your lives or something. Have a little fun, for crying out loud. I'd also like to add that when it comes to breeding huntsmen, I am a complete noob. These pairings that you're watching right now are the first pairings I've ever done. So that's it with the Isopedella leai. Now let's take a look at a much more spectacular huntsman species, Neosporus magareyi. This is among the species that I am the most keen on breeding, as not only are the females utterly spectacular and the males useful, but they are also very rare in captivity. So the fact that I have the chance to breed this species at all is extremely fortunate and not something I want to throw away. Here you can see the two spiders drumming, which I believe is a form of courtship where the spiders communicate via the vibrations generated by their movements. Now the male is walking all over the female and feeling her up. I know this is probably another aspect of their courtship, but honestly, it just makes him look like a bit of a creep. I guess spiders must simply be a whole lot more open-minded about that kind of thing. Now, I'll admit there isn't exactly much going on here, and I was contemplating cutting out most of this because ultimately it's kind of boring, and the female seems to agree with me because she doesn't look like she knows what the hell is going on. But at the end of the day, spider pairing is a long, drawn-out process, and it requires a lot of patience, so I decided to include some of it in just to convey how long it can actually take. And I say convey because it is still only giving you a taste. It took a lot longer than it appears in this video. To be honest, at this point their courtship looks more like the male forcing the female to give up her seat than anything remotely romantic. But then again, that's my narrow-minded human point of view, and spiders obviously view the world a different way. I guess another complicating factor is that unlike the Isopedella leai, where the female was sitting right out in the open, in this instance the female is in a rather hard to reach location, so the male probably needs to do a whole lot more shuffling around before he's able to find the goodies. Mate, can you hurry up, please? I have places to go, I have things to do. I can't sit around here watching this, and quite frankly, your sex life is extremely boring anyway. Well, after what feels like a millennium, because I definitely know how long that feels, the male has finally found what he's looking for. He sure took his sweet time finding it, and I'm sure he's going to take his sweet time using it as well. Huntsmen may be extremely fast in most other aspects of their lives, but when it comes to getting intimate, they do seem to like to live in the slow lane. And in it goes, and they stayed together like that for 8 hours. So now with the final pairing, or attempted pairing anyway, we have Isopeda woodwardi, which is quite a big huntsman from South Australia. Though with that in mind, this female Isopeda woodwardi matured at an unusually small size, only 10 centimeters across. So the male actually kind of dwarfs her, which in the world of spiders is extremely unusual. Unlike the last two huntsmen I paired, which got down to it pretty quickly, the Isopeda woodwardi have been a whole lot more responsible with their decisions. They've been staying together in an enclosure for several days at this point, so they can truly get to know each other and decide whether it is actually worth committing to have children. Well, maybe I'm anthropomorphizing here, but hey, this isn't an episode of the Spider Guide series, so I can afford to have a little fun. As of yet, there's been no real evidence that these spiders have mated, although they have been getting really cozy. But either way, I know I will be having baby Isopeda woodwardi soon, as I recently received a fairly large gravid female. And here she is in all her glory. Now, I would say that this is a more typically sized adult female, compared to my other one who is quite frankly a midget. What I love about Isopeda woodwardi is their very stocky build, and if you know about me with centipedes, you'll know that I like them thick, and the same goes with huntsmen. So that's basically it for this video, and hopefully we'll have an update soon when these huntsmen all become mothers. Well, that's the best case scenario anyway. So if you enjoy my videos, and feel free to subscribe and check out some of my other uploads. Don't forget to let me know what you thought in the comments section too. Thank you very much for watching, that is it from me, and I shall see you again very soon.